everybody! If you've ever been to a Chinese American restaurant, then you're probably familiar with this meat, either in your bowl of noodles or as an appetizer. Well, today, in continuation of my quest to turn regional meats into portable treats, I'm using this charsiu pork as the inspiration to make these charsiu pork flavored snack sticks that everyone's gonna love. So let's get started. I'm making a barbecue pork flavored snack stick, so of course the meat we're going to be using today is 100% pork. And this is pork shoulder. Generally speaking, the pork shoulders have enough fat on them that you don't need to add any extra fat in to make a sausage. But that barbecue pork is oftentimes pretty lean. They're using loin or sirloin. And if I make a snack stick that lean, it's just going to be too rubbery to enjoy. So instead, I'm going to take the fattier bits of this pork shoulder and I'm going to grind them through a small-ish 4.5 millimeter plate. And I'm going to separate out some of the lean bits and run them through the big 10 millimeter plate for some nice lean chunks. And I think that should give me a decent result. So let me get this cut up, and then we'll break out gnarls and tear through this meat. Looks like we got a pretty nice blend here. So now I'm gonna weigh up 5 pounds of this meat. It should be really close already. Because this is the first time I'm making this sausage, I'm just doing a small batch. So let me weigh up my meat, and then I'll go work up the spice bill. Now let's take a look at the cure and seasoning for this Szechuan salam. And as you can see, I got pretty busy with this one today. So you can follow along with the recipe right here on screen, as well as in the description of the video, where I'll have both the metric and volumetric measurements posted. So let's begin with some salt, and that is just plain salt. I've got some soy sauce, and this is hoisin sauce, also known as Chinese barbecue sauce. And that's got a lot of sugar in it, so that's gonna take care of my sweetness. I'm not gonna add in any sugar or honey to this one. But if you like them on the sweet side, go ahead and add something in there if you like. Now, if you do your sausage recipes by using percentages and you're thinking, I don't have nearly enough salt, that is because both the soy sauce and the hoisin sauce are salty components. And combined, I'm looking for a salt content of right around 2% on this one. And this is my cure. That is pink cure #1. Always #1 in this type of sausage, never #2. I've got some fresh garlic, and this is some fresh ginger. And I've taken this fresh ginger, I grated it up, then I put in about a tablespoon of water, and I heated it up till it got nice and piping hot in the microwave. And that is because fresh ginger has an enzyme in it that can break down meat, make it kind of mushy. And when you get it hot, that neutralizes that enzyme and you don't need to worry about it. You could sub out ginger powder, but I like the taste of fresh ginger a whole lot more. And this is Chinese 5-spice. I've made my own here. It's a blend of different warming spices. I've got some star anise, some cinnamon, some white pepper, and a little bit of fennel in here. But you can buy it already blended and not have to grind your own. I just happen to have all those spices in the house, and I like fresh ground spices. I'm adding in some more white pepper than the 5-spice has for give it a little bit more of a bite. And whenever you get that barbecued pork, you're always gonna get some sesame seeds and some hot mustard. So here I've got some toasted sesame seeds, and no, I didn't over toast them and burn them to a crisp. These are black sesame seeds because I didn't have any white sesame seeds, and my local grocery store wanted $6 for a couple of tablespoons of them, so I passed on that. And here I've got some mustard powder. To loosen things up and add in just a little bit more sweetness, I have some sake. And I wanted to use Chinese rice wine, but I couldn't get that in town, so it is sake today. But that is completely optional. You could replace it with water, wine, beer, or just leave it out entirely. And I'm gonna add in a little bit of binder, and for that, I've got regular old grocery store non-fat powdered milk. So now I think we're ready to mix this one up. We've got a smoked sausage today, so you really need to get after it with the mixing. This is a pretty wet mix with all that sauce in there. So the mixing is not too difficult, but it is going to take a good 10 minutes. If you haven't broken a sweat, you haven't mixed it long enough. Now we're feeling good. It's getting real sticky. You should be able to get some nice, good webbing going between your fingers with that. Oh, looks good. Smells good. And now this goes into the refrigerator overnight to let that cure work its magic. And we'll be back here bright and early on another Sausage Sunday to crank this one out. Bright and early on another beautiful Sausage Sunday, My meat has had plenty of time to cure overnight, and since this one has a little more liquid and is a little softer than a lot of the sausages I do, I am going to try and use these narrow 17mm collagen casings. And those are going to be pretty difficult to get down and through your stuffer. We're going to be using a little 12mm stuffing horn, so that's going to create a lot of pressure in here. So if you're trying to use a narrow casing like this and you're really struggling to crank that thing, you've got to change something up. Either loosen up your meat somehow or use a bigger stuffing horn and some larger casings like these 21mm collagen casings. You don't want to go cranking on your stuffer just as hard as you can, because you can break your stuff. I've got my silicone eggs here. These are used to clear the stuffer when you get down into the very bottom there. You throw those in. That way you can get every bit of your sausage into a casing. And as usual, my man Corn Pop
was a bad dude.
Is here to pop any air bubbles that form inside of there while I'm turning this one out. So now it is time to lock and load and crank out this Beijing banger. Welcome back to the sausage closet, where we're going to start to bring these snack sticks up to temperature very slowly and make sure the casings are nice and dry. Now, these collagen casings begin dry, so they don't need a whole lot of drying time, but we're going to let them hang here at room temperature with a fan on them for about an hour, just to start bringing them up to temperature very slowly and to give that meat some time to marry with the casing. And we'll get them out of here and right into a smoky smoker today. I moved these right out into a smoky smoker. I'm doing about 130 degrees right now. Well, less now that I had the door open. But I'm going to do a real simple smoke on these today. They're not going to need a whole lot of smoke because they're so small. So I'm going to run them 130 for about 30 minutes, 140 for about 30 minutes. And then most of the time I'm going to be running at 150 degrees Fahrenheit because I'm really concentrating on getting some of that excess moisture out of them. And I don't want to leave them in there so long that the casings get tough. So in this smoker, if I actually turn it up to 150 degrees right now, it'll come up to that temperature slow enough that will be cooking nice and evenly. So that's what I'm going to do, and then when they get to 150, I'll just kind of keep my eye on them until they get as dry looking as I want them to be, and then we're going to raise it up to 180 to finish off the cooking.
Birdie.
I'm just over 4 hours in, and I like what I'm seeing there. So, I'm about to turn this thing up to 180 degrees Fahrenheit to finish these off, cooking to an internal temperature of 155 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'll get a little temperature probe down into one of those so I can keep track of that internal temperature closely. Gotta pay close attention to them now, because if you overheat them, you're gonna get the fat running out of your sausage, and it is not gonna be pretty.
Tiger. I am a great magician. Bird.
I'm at 155 degrees internal, and those things are looking perfect. So now, we gotta get these things out of here and cool them off just as quick as possible. You can drop them into an ice bath, but with these little guys like this, I just hit them with the hose. Now they just need one more hang here in the sausage closet to dry off that water, and then we can crack into one. Look at that little beauty. That is a nice dark color on there. Should have plenty of smoke. Let's take a look inside. Oh yes, big meaty chunks in there. I see those sesame seeds, and it looks like the fat content is about where I wanted it. Of course, what really matters is the taste. Check out that bite. Well, the casings came out nice and snappy, and I am really liking that chunky, meaty texture. It's a dense stick. That is nice. Very flavorful. You gotta chew on this one a little bit, and I like it. The 5-spice and the hoisin sauce really hit. It's an umami bomb. Good smokiness too. So what is the verdict? Do these taste like this? Only one way to find out. Well, they are similar. This one is a little bit sweeter, and it has no smokiness at all. Even though it looks like this might have a smoke ring on it, that's just food coloring. That is not smoked at all. As far as the spices go, they are quite similar. This is much more intensely flavored. It's got a lot more seasoning in it than that. That is really, really mild. And this just takes those same sort of spices and amplifies them, which I think is good for a snack stick. So they are not an exact match, but it is a very good starting point for a perfect snack stick. And that means the experiment was a success. And this is the beauty of making your own. I'm really enjoying these experiments, taking regional dishes and reconstructing them into tasty tube form, with the goal being to make something that isn't just a gimmick, but actually tastes good. And this does actually taste good, even though it's not an exact match. So let me know in the comments if you've got a dish you think would make a good sausage, fresh or smoked. If it sounds good to me, I just may take it on. And as far as this snack stick goes, if you like this, give this one a try, and I know you're gonna love it. Thanks for watching.
Wee, 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 wee.